Yes, so we are going to continue with the chapter. But before I begin, is there any question from whatever we covered yesterday? Let me share the screen chapter. All right. So yesterday we talked about the sensory modality of hearing, that is ear, and we did the anatomy and the function of different parts of the ear. This is pinna, this is the external part of the ear, and then we have meters, auditory meters. The sound waves are collected through this pinna, which is a funnel-shaped kind of an organ. You all are aware of it, we all are blessed with it. And then the sound waves enter this passage. This is the path to carry the sensory stimulus of auditory, the sensory auditory stimulus. It reaches the middle ear, which is marked by presence of tympanic membrane, right? So this is your eardrum or tympanic membrane. It starts vibrating with the sound waves, and then the sound is traveled. The vibrations are transferred to hammer, anvil, and stirrup. These are the three small ossicles that start vibrating. Consequently, they transfer the vibrations to inner ear, where they reach cochlea, where there are some semicircular canals, which are also responsible for balance of your body, postural balance and position of your body. And ultimately, cochlea, there's an organ of Corti that transfers everything to the auditory nerve. This auditory nerve, the job of this nerve is to take the sensory stimulus to the brain, to the auditory cortex, that is temporal lobe. It takes all the auditory stimulation to the brain, where it is processed to receive it as a sound. Okay. Now, this auditory nerve is present at the base of the inner ear. And this cochlea is a circular shaped organ. Eustachian tube is another important organ which connects the middle ear with the, through the pharynx. It passes through the, from the middle ear to the pharynx. It's a connector tube. Okay. Any other question? This is what we covered yesterday. Any questions? No? Please respond.
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. And I hope you all are clear about the color thing. Well explained yesterday. Thank you for that. Now I'm coming to the sound as a stimulus. Working of ear is also clear. I just explained that. Sound as a stimulus. So what is a stimulus? We all know what is a stimulus. What is a stimulus? Tell me quickly. What is a stimulus?
Something to
that
which we
generates a response.
Absolutely correct. So stimulus is something that creates, that generates or prompts a response. That is a stimulus. Now, what could be the stimulus for ears? Ears is a sensory modality for hearing. So what can be a stimulus to ears?
Sound.
Sound waves.
Okay, so how is sound produced? I told you how is sound produced. Yesterday we did this activity. By vibrations. Yes.
Vibration.
Absolutely. So any physical movement, basically. So any physical movement that disturbs the surrounding medium. So what medium is there between us? Air. I mean, yeah, if you're, yeah. So sound travels through ear, and this vibration is like back and forth movement, like this. Do you know how sound waves travel? Are you aware of compression and rarefactions?
Yes, ma'am.
Any of physics? Yes. So it travels back and forth like this. Okay. And it is moving like this. At the same time, it is moving like this. So this is the kind of motion it has, like up and down like this in the form of crest and troughs. And it is also moving like this, compression and rarefaction. That is how the sound wave travels through the medium. Okay. And we definitely need a medium for it to travel. So are you aware of it or not? That we have solids, we have liquid, we have gases, and the sound travels through all these three. Fastest through?
Solid.
Yes, right. If you keep your ear at your table and somebody is kind of hitting the table from them, even very gently, you would hear it very loud. Okay, so now coming with that background of understanding, we are moving ahead. This disturbance results in the changes in pressure that spreads outward in the form of sound waves, traveling at a rate of about 1,100 feet per second. So these changes travel in waves. So clearly sound is traveling in a wave. So it travels in the form of waves, much like the ripples set in water when you throw a stone in it. Okay. When these sound waves strike our ears, they initiate a set of mechanical pressure that ultimately triggers the auditory receptors. एक pressure create होता है जिससे हमारे auditory receptors एकदम से activate हो जाते हैं. Our receptors are activated. Okay. Whatever is receiving, whatever receptors are there, auditory receptors, they get activated when there is a disturbance that enters our sense organs. And we already know that what will be the audible frequency between 20 to 20,000 hertz. That is the human audible frequency. इससे low होगा तभी trigger नहीं होगा. As we read in chapter number 3, we need a strong stimulus. If we do not have a stimulus that is strong enough, so our sensory receptors will not take a note of it. But once it is stimulated, then it will be continuing in the same way. Okay, activating stimulus the strength, even if it fades out, still the sound will be taken to the auditory receptor, auditory cortex. All right. So the simplest kind of sound wave is one that causes successive pressure changes over time in the form of single repeating sine wave. Okay. Sound waves. What is a sine wave? Sinusoidal wave. What is a sine wave? Do you know it? What is a sine wave? Any idea? This wave, this going up and down. This is called a sine wave. S-I-N-E, sine wave. So sound waves may vary in amplitude. There's a new word here, amplitude. You already have done amplitude earlier, but still I would like to explain. What is amplitude? Okay, you tell me what is amplitude.
The measure the value.
Come again.
Ma'am, the measure the value, the height of the waves.
Height of the sound waves. Okay. Height. Okay. Well, anybody else? Anybody else? What is amplitude? Tell me. ठीक है, she has told it correct. Let's say this is getting this. Now here, if I measure this, so it's a little bit of physics going in. This displacement, this length is called amplitude. Got it? If I write A and B here, let's say A and B here. So this AB, this line AB is the amplitude. Maximum displacement. Maximum displacement, that is the amplitude. So जितना amplitude है उतना ही loudness. It is like directly proportional. उतना ही loud sound होगा. So amplitude is a general measure of stimulus magnitude. It is the amount of change in pressure, the extent of displacement. I'm sure you know about distance and displacement. Do you know what is the difference between distance and displacement? Somebody needs to mute the mic, please. Are you clear about distance and displacement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it is not the distance only, it is the displacement of the sound wave that is what we call as amplitude, right? So it is a general measure of stimulus magnitude. It is the amount of change in pressure, the extent of displacement of molecules from the position of rest. Okay. Now in this figure, in the following figure, I'm just going to rub this so that it doesn't interfere our reading. Yes. So in the given figure, the amplitude of sound wave is represented as the distance of crest and trough. Now here, where is crest and where is trough? Anybody? This is crest and this is so This point is crest and this point is trough. Right? Now, the distance between two crests or two troughs is called wavelength. Okay? Am I making sense? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So this is crest and this is another trough. So you can say either the distance between two troughs or this distance is called wavelength. If we put things more figural way, sometimes it becomes a little more understandable. So this distance is called as wavelength. Is it clear to everybody? Please, you can make a note of it in your book that sound travels in the form of a sinusoidal wave, sine wave. And the maximum displacement of the sound, the vibration is the amplitude, right? And when we are talking about the wave, the wavelength would be the distance between two crests or two troughs. So wavelength is the distance between two crests, and the sound waves are basically formed due to alternate compression and decompression, rarefaction. This is what I was telling you just a while back. Compression, this is compression of the molecules, and this is rarefaction, expansion, compression, decompression, compression, decompression, like this. You know, this there is a. Have you ever played with those bangle sort of a thing, which is like through and through, which is not like separate bangles?
Slinky.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, like, yes, right. So when you move it like this, so those are rarefaction and compressions. Compression, rarefaction, compression, rarefaction. So that is how sound travels. So a complete change in pressure from compression to rarefaction and again to compression makes a cycle of a wave. Okay, got it? A complete change in pressure from compression to rarefaction and then compression. Ye ek cycle. This is one cycle of wave. Is it clear? Have you noted? Can I rub this off?
Yes,
Otherwise
ma'am.
it will interfere
Yes.
with thinking. Okay, great. So, all right. So sound waves are described in terms of their frequency. Now, another term which you need to know, what is frequency? You remember a practical that you people did, time period and frequency of the bob? करा था
Yes,
एक
ma'am.
बार।
Yes, ma'am.
बड़ी कंफ्यूजन हुई थी कि फ्रीक्वेंसी क्या होती है, टाइम पीरियड क्या होता है। फ्रीक्वेंसी में ये था, you remember how much you had tried to remember, yet some of us got it wrong. So what is frequency? Let's understand it very clearly, very simply. Would anybody like to tell me what is frequency? Anyone? Okay, let me tell you. Frequency.
It's the number of times.
Yeah.
The
इसको हम बहुत सिंपली, वेरी गुड कैफे, इसको बहुत सिंपली समझेंगे। फ्रीक्वेंसी हम अक्सर बोलते हैं ना, हाउ फ्रीक्वेंटली, फ्रीक्वेंसी वर्ड फ्रीक्वेंट से समझ लीजिए, कितनी बार, हाउ फ्रीक्वेंटली डू यू हैव snacks when you're studying. That is what we do. We need a lot of chips and biscuits and etc. in between while we are studying. So frequently, how frequently do you do this, or how frequently will this happen? How frequently do we have holiday or like that? So frequency has to be understood from the word frequent. Then you will never forget it. Kitni baar? Okay. So number of times, if we convert that in English. So number of times a sound, a cycle is happening per second, which is measured in in terms of cycles per second. एक second में कितनी बार sound wave आया? So that is the frequency, and the unit of frequency is hertz. Unit of frequency is hertz, represented by Hz. So frequency and wavelength have an inverse relationship. Frequency and wavelength have inverse relationship. What is an inverse relationship? It means correlation पढ़ा था आपने? Correlation पढ़ाया था? Positive or
Yes,
negative?
ma'am.
हाँ,
Opposite.
negative.
Yes.
हाँ, one will increase, the other will decrease. मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ा है ना आपने, डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल, फिजिक्स में भी डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल पढ़ा है, एक बढ़ेगा दूसरा भी बढ़ेगा, एक कम होगा दूसरा भी कम होगा, वेरिएबल्स। इसी तरह से फ्रीक्वेंसी और वेवलेंथ दो वेरिएबल्स हैं। फ्रीक्वेंसी मोर मतलब वेवलेंथ इज लेस, if wavelength is more then frequency will be less. So they have an inverse relationship. They are inversely proportional to each other. You can make a note there, they are inversely proportional. So frequency and wavelength have an inverse relationship. When the wavelength increases, the frequency decreases. And when the wavelength decreases, the frequency increases. Okay. Amplitude and frequency both are physical dimensions. They are not psychological. They are physical dimensions. Just a while back, I think about 2 days back, I was telling you that colors are the psychological aspect, whereas physical aspect is wavelength. बताया ना, physical aspect क्या है? Wavelength. मतलब उसको measure कर सकते हैं. We can measure it. So amplitude and frequency are both physical dimensions. Beside these, there are 3 psychological dimensions of the sound. These are loudness, pitch, and timbre. Okay, so these are the 3 psychological dimensions of sound. The 2 physical dimensions are frequency and amplitude. The psychological dimensions are loudness, pitch, and timbre. Okay, is it clear? Are you clear about this? Underline it. Okay, this is important. So when we are talking about loudness, I told you loudness is determined by what? Amplitude.
Amplitude.
Jitna amplitude zyada hoga, let's say यहाँ पर if I make another wave and इतना, तो इसका जो ये amplitude है वो ज़्यादा है, तो वो sound ज़्यादा loud होगा. That sound will be louder. So it depends on the amplitude. Okay. Now coming here to your chapter. Loudness of the sound is determined by its amplitude. Sound waves with large amplitude are perceived as loud. So what is associated with loudness? Amplitude. Those with small amplitude are perceived as soft. Loudness is measured in decibels, and we know that amplitude it's a displacement factor, so it will have a different unit. But loudness is measured in terms of decibels. The unit of it is expressed, it is measured, it is expressed in terms of decibels. Okay. Pitch refers to shrillness of the sound. Shrillness of the sound. Okay, how shrill is the sound? That is, you should know it. Now what your book says, pitch refers to the highness or the lowness of the sound. High and low. So don't confuse it with loud and soft. A girl talking and a boy talking, girls will have a higher pitch. Remember that. Just to clarify it to you, कि pitch क्या है और loudness क्या है. Let's say if I am talking, I can be loud, I can be soft, I can be loud, I can be soft, right? And my pitch can be different from somebody who's talking like, oh, deep sound, like deep voice, like that, you know? So that is low pitch. Just for you to understand that pitch is actually the shrillness of the sound, and girls have a high pitch sound and boys have a lower pitch sound. Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with the loudness. Pitch is a different attribute of the sound. This was in physics chapter in class 10, I think. class, no, not 10th, 7th or 8th, maybe. Anyway, so pitch refers to the highness or lowness of a sound. The 7 notes used in Indian classical music. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, do re mi fa sa la ti. We are clear about the 7 notes. So एक सप्तक जो बीच वाला ऑक्टेव होता है वो मिडिल ऑक्टेव है, उसके पहले आपका लोअर ऑक्टेव होता है लो पिच, और एक हायर ऑक्टेव होता है हाई पिच. ठीक है. So higher we go, the pitch increases. सारे गामा पादा निसा जब तक पहुंचते हैं तो पिच बहुत हाई हो जाता है. Okay. Can anybody say सारे गामा पादा निसा? Will anybody say that? Sing it or? Yeah, only one line, somebody, please. Let's make it interesting. Yeah, nobody? Okay, I hope you've understood. You got it? Samajh aa gaya?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now, frequency determines the pitch of a sound wave. I'm going to read pitch once again so that's clear to you. Pitch refers to the highness or lowness of the sound. The 7 notes in Indian classical music represent a gradual increase in their pitch. So as we move higher in the octave, the pitch increases. The frequency determines the pitch of the sound. So higher frequency, higher will be the pitch. Because the sound wave is vibrating very frequently per second. In 1 second, the number of vibrations is 1 cycle is a lot. So that's why higher frequency means higher pitch. Frequency determines the pitch of the sound. Higher the frequency, higher will be the pitch, which means frequency and pitch are directly proportional to each other. You may make a note of it. Right? Frequency and pitch, they are directly proportional to each other. You know the sign of proportionality?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Frequency and pitch. They are directly proportional. और inversely proportional में क्या होगा? This proportionality sign 1 by.
1 upon.
Yeah.
1 upon.
ठीक है. Great. So this is clear to everybody, I guess. Now coming to the next sentence, the range of hearing is 20. This we talked about like from the beginning, but yet you can underline. We will have an auditory sensation if only the sound is between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, because we all are humans. हमारी species में इतनी ही range है. हम इससे low नहीं सुन सकते, हम इससे ज़्यादा नहीं सुन सकते. We are only this much evolved. So we should know that we have a limited capacity. So timbre refers to the nature or the quality of the sound. The sound of a car engine and a person talking differ with respect to the quality. So quality, we are talking about the quality of the sound or timbre. The timbre of a sound reflects the complexity of its sound waves. Most of the sounds found in natural environments are complex. You're not able to exactly understand. They are quite complex in nature. So we are not exactly able to get to the quality of the sound. So we kind of sometimes, when we are doing mixing, when there is a studio recording, so what are they working on? They work on the quality of the sound. They work on the timbre of the sound. Okay. So we will elaborate on it once you go through it, and we might elaborate on it if there's any question. Since your book is only talking about this much, so we will refrain our discussion further, but you need to know that timbre, it refers to the nature of the sound or the quality of the sound. So sound of a car engine and a person talking different with respect to quality. They may have, their frequency may be same, their pitch may be same, their loudness may be, but then the quality differs. Guitar lene jate hain, the quality of sound is different. We look at the quality of the sound, whether we should buy like Yamaha or we are going to buy the Epiphone. So we look at the quality, right? So timbre refers to the quality of the sound. All right, am I clear?
Yes,
Here
ma'am.
we will be finishing the sensory modalities. So just repeating it quickly, that amplitude is the maximum displacement. Sound is taken as a stimulus to generate some kind of response to the auditory stimulus. And it travels in the form of waves, sinusoidal wave with crest and troughs. Amplitude is the maximum displacement. And wavelength is the distance between the two crests or two troughs, as we just saw a while back. Frequency is measured in terms of cycles per second, the number of times it is vibrating in a second. So the unit is hertz, Hz, and frequency and wavelength have inverse relationship. I'm sure you have underlined this line. Then the wavelength increases, frequency decreases, which is indicative of this inverse relationship. Loudness is determined by amplitude. Higher is the amplitude, higher is the loudness. Pitch refers to the highness or lowness of the sound, or like I told you, you can understand it like shrillness of the sound. As the sound becomes high pitch, the notes of the octave, the higher notes, the higher octaves, they are of high pitch, and those which are in the lower octave, they are of the low pitch. Human audible frequency is 20 to 20,000 hertz. Frequency and pitch are directly proportional, and timbre refers to the quality of the sound. So that is all for sensory modalities. Take a minute and please go through these sensory modalities. Once you go through it, and if there's any question, you may ask me. And after that, I will be starting with attentional process. Kindly go through your sensory modalities quickly. All right. It's just like flipping through the pages. I hope you have done that. And focused revision you can do after the class. Now, if we do not have any questions, may I proceed with the attentional process? I'll just give you a very brief idea about attentional process, and I will be continuing this from Monday. Okay, so what is attention? What is attention? We keep saying pay attention, you don't pay attention. Where is your attention? Stand in attention position. So what is attention?
To focus and concentrate.
To focus on an important task.
To focus on important task. What else?
Ma'am, from the word attentive, so being aware, attentive.
Ma'am,
Absolutely.
attend something.
To attend something, yes. With full awareness, attending to something with full awareness, and yeah, getting to, you know, the focus. So eventually getting into focus, right? So that is attention. So you think that you people are attentive generally in the class? You think so? Yes. When you are intending, then you are attentive. We intend and we attend. अगर आप intentional हो कि मुझे काम करना है या सुनना है क्लास में, आज सुन लेते हैं, so then you pay attention. So it's not that a stimulation is not going in your sensory modalities. So we are definitely receiving a lot through our vision, through our ears. We are using our sensory modalities. Those whose cameras are on, definitely, both the modalities are working. Those who have put it off. So you are in your safe thing. Okay, nobody can see us. We can see everybody, but maybe we don't want to be seen, right? So it so happens. So maybe even if you choose not to be attentive, so you have a psychological comfort. But then, are you attending it fully? So these are some questions that do bother us to know. What is attention after all? When our sensory modalities are catching everything, Why can't we know everything? Sense organs हैं, आंखें देख भी रही हैं, कान सुन भी रही हैं, same है, everything is same. Why do we differ? Why are we not able to attend to everything? Are you able to attend to everything? No. If somebody else, if mom is calling you for something, or if there's a TV which is playing, your favorite drama is playing, will you be able to attend? No. So might as well switch off the class and watch the drama. You'll be able to attend that better, right? So that is what happens when we are kind of scrolling WhatsApp and still listening to somebody. In families also you would have, so people are not attending. In nuclear and joint families, we are becoming like subatomic kind of people. So that all brings me to this word of attention, right? Now I'm going to roll out the topic to you. In the previous section, we have discussed some sensory modalities that help us in collecting the information from the external world and also from our internal system, from our experience. That is what it means. A large number of stimuli impinge upon our sense organs simultaneously, but we do not notice all of them at the same time. Only a selected few of them are noticed. For example, when you enter the classroom, you encounter several things in it, such as doors, walls. So this entering the classroom is becoming like out of the context. Now we are not entering the classroom. We're entering Zoom, right? We see how many participants and what is happening. So it's a different experience. So the book needs to be having those inclusive paragraphs also now. So we have doors, walls, windows, paintings, etc. But we are not able to focus. We don't want to focus on everything. We only select to focus on one or two at one time. Let's say you are going to give an exam. The first thing you notice, acha kaun aa gaye? Are my friends sitting here? Your friends will catch your attention. Okay, these people are present. Okay, teacher is present. You're not to count how many desks are present over in the class or what is written on the board, right? So we select, we focus only on a couple of things at a time. So the process through which certain stimuli are selected from a group of others is referred to as attention. So that brings us to the book definition of attention. Okay, so it is the process that is going up neurologically, cognitively in our mind. We select certain things. It could be due to arousal. It could be due to some experience. It could be due to need. It could be due to a number of factors. But there is definitely a process that is going on in your mind where certain stimuli are done away with. We are focusing on some, and this selection, this type of phenomena, this type of process is called as attention. Okay, is it clear? Like the sound of fan, not even noticing. Okay, I'm just talking to you, I'm not noticing the sound of fan. Sometimes when you're sitting alone and you switch on the AC and it's making a lot of noise, window ACs. So your attention will go to that if you're not doing anything. But if you're studying and you're feeling hot and you want some cool air, that sound is not going to bother you. Okay, so this amazing process that happens in our brains, in our mind, cognitively and a lot of neurologically also. So this process is called as attention. Okay, so that will be all for today. I hope you were able to understand a little bit of this attention thing, and I'm sure you're clear about the sensory modalities. Please go through it and you can ask me questions. I'm putting the presentation away now. Yeah. You can switch on your mics and your cameras. Please do that. I want to attend to all of you.
Ma'am, I had a question related to this definition.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
That the selection process depends upon our circumstance. Like, what do we want to see at that point? Want to focus on that point? Does it depend on that?
It will definitely depend on that. And that is also preceded with Arousal. You remember? Some part of our brain is responsible for arousal. Chapter 3 is very important actually. So, yes, your arousal will decide. Let's say you have an exam. You will definitely focus on the questions. If you have psychology exam and some mathematics is kind of, running some unitary methods going that we have to give that exam also, you are not going to pay attention on that. If you have exam the next day, you are going to focus on the particular subject. Okay. You will not pay attention to what other students are telling you. Maybe you will focus on what the examiner is telling you or what the invigilator is telling you. So arousal takes care of this. Arousal creates attention. Too much arousal when you're super excited, or too little when you're totally, not paying attention. So all these are interfere in our attention. So number of factors. There are a number of factors that affect our attention. Yes.
So ma'am, like just the example that you gave, that if our exam is going on, we would most probably focus on what the invigilator is saying rather than what another person is saying.
Yeah.
So will that be, if we focus on what the other person is saying, will that be considered we're not paying attention? Because
Your
we're still
attention
paying
will be more
attention.
scattered. It will not be
Someone
focused. It will scatter. So which is why, on a personal note, so see, policymakers, they should also go through the psychology. My view, if somebody is constantly working, creates disturbance, attention goes on that I don't know, she's observing me, I don't know, am I writing it right? If somebody is saying something, if some child is asking questions, that is disturbing. So a lot of factors have to be controlled, which is why we need to be quiet. We need a quiet, so that we cut out on modalities, we cut out on stimulation. So when I say that put your cameras on, what is going on in my mind? Why do I say that? We all are paying attention at least for a couple of minutes, that okay, let's have the gist of it. What will happen? Your sensory modalities of vision and hearing both will be active. They will be paying attention. But if you shut out your cameras, what is happening? One is totally out. You're only depending on this. Obviously, your arousal will be through this modality. Okay, so everything is connected. And yes, KF, you have very well understood. Absolutely, it does make a difference. So if you want to focus, you will not bother what anybody else is saying. That's why you have, I think that is what preceded when we started having the reading time, or we have the signing time separate. In board exams, when we invigilate, there is a time when we sign. Otherwise, we don't keep saying, "Ab paper wapas palto ye karo." So that takes away the attention. So you have, for a focused attention, you do not need any kind of stimulation. Okay, that's why we need a minute of silence.
But what my question main particularly was that we're still focusing on something else. So how, I don't understand how will that be considered a lack of attention?
So it may not be total lack of attention. Nobody's saying it is lack of attention. It is subjective. Some people are able to focus with that kind of stimulation. Some people are not able to do that. Okay. It will not be a total lack of attention. It will not be total lack of attention. You will still be able to attention on your work more than what others are saying. If you think that, okay, that's trivial, let me not think about it. Let me not. But stimulation is going inside. You are hearing sounds. Still, you're able to focus, right? It could be a learning style. Some people like to listen to music and do their work, right? So somewhere,
Yes, ma'am.
so it is so specific to all of us how we pay attention. So there's no, these are like more psychological kind of attributes that we have. But yes,
Ma'am.
Yeah, just let me finish the sentence.
Sorry, ma'am.
No, not at all. No, sorry. When there is a sensory stimulation, It's preferred, it is better to cut out on the stimulation. If you're focusing on reading, then it's better to have a quieter environment so that less stimulation. If something is banging, definitely your attention is going to go over there. Okay. Kefia, is it clear? I think video is frozen. Yes, Kashish.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I had a doubt that, like, ma'am, as you just gave an example, some people listen to music while doing their work. So, ma'am, I'm more of that person. Whenever I do homework, I listen to music. But, ma'am, then I'm able to focus on the things which I'm writing. Like, if you will ask me at the end of my homework that what you have written, can you tell me? I will be able to tell. But, ma'am, when it comes to studying, like actual studying, notes making, we some people have the habit to listen to light chill music while studying, and they are able to like learn everything. Then and when I listen to
Yeah.
such music while studying, I can't comprehend anything which I am studying. So ma'am, is this depends on our like is it in our minds that we know that this thing is necessary, so we have to pay attention to it, and this is not necessary, so we can just our attention
Okay.
gets
So
scattered kind
again,
of.
Kashish, thank you for putting up this question. See, it is absolutely subjective to the person. There is something called as learning style. It's a different topic. So just make a note of these topics. We'll have good discussions later after our portion is complete. So that also decides. We have a different way. Some people are like more auditory. Some could be more kinesthetic. For some, body movement is very important. Like, see, I'm using my body, my position, my kinesthetically to say it. So some people have different ways. Some people need total focus attention, tonalities, a lot of things, go in. Plus your interest,
ma'am.
plus your interest, plus your intelligences. Like Gardner says, no, we have multiple intelligences. Howard Gardner. Acha, next year you'll be studying about this intelligence. So it depends. How are we understanding? Some people have musical intelligence, periodic table, by rap. We may understand.
Yes,
Like,
ma'am.
yeah. So a lot of stuff, goes. King Henry had something. We made mnemonics. Okay. Pandit Badri Prasad Harar Bole. We have a way of learning. So there are different types of attentions also, simultaneous attention, successive attention. So there are different processes, neurological processes that go into it. And yes, learning with music or not learning with music, it is totally subjective. Sometimes children really, while taking parental workshop, we have to tell them it's okay. They might learn it like this. It shouldn't be like only my way is the right way. It is not like that. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am, yes, I wanted to know that does this affect the attention, like factors affecting?
It will affect your attention, but that maybe you may use it in that facility can be used in studying something in depth, or it may interfere or may not interfere.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll continue our discussion. It can go on, like it's very interesting. I think your next class has started. So see you tomorrow. I'll stop the recording just a minute.